Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy
Hey.
Wednesday. For those
Yeah.
of you in the storms this evening, hey, batten down the hatches.
Hey.
Hold on, buddy. Here we go.
I know. That's what I was saying. I was like, oh my God. I was sliding in late. I was like, I wasn't getting anything. I wasn't getting a signal, nothing. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. For folks listening at home, Brandy and Randy might cut out, but it's okay. I'll be here. My internet is stable.
I know that just makes all y'all so happy.
Yes.
Yeah, Donnie will still be here regardless of what happens. He will be here.
Anywho, oh joy. So
Oh, joy.
everybody just working and having all the fun we're supposed to have during the week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mine got a little exciting. I'm just gonna have to say, and this just happened to me a little bit ago. I'm standing in my bathroom and I'm brushing my hair in my mirror, and directly behind me, you can see I have a garden tub, and you can see the closet and all of that stuff. So I'm just brushing my hair, and I see this little black misty thing, kind of like pop into the mirror and slide right out.
Uh-oh.
Because we had just talked about everything being super quiet here. I know Randy and I did. It's super
Yep.
quiet. Nothing's been happening. We just had this conversation on Sunday.
Yes, we did.
And yeah, and tonight I saw that. I was like, well, hello there.
How are you doing?
I know. Nice of you to join me this evening.
Well,
You're in
the
the
things-
wrong room.
The things
So
in the
we
back going like, how you doing?
Right. So we kind of had this discussion again while I'm staying in the bathroom. You're not allowed to be in my bathroom. You're not allowed to be in the bedroom. You're not allowed to be in any bathroom in this house or any bedroom in this house. So
Well,
we
you're
went
just
through
no
the whole
fun.
thing, So let's see what happens. Yeah.
I remember as a little kid, right? My first exposure to ghosts as a little kid growing up in the 80s was Unsolved Mysteries. Remember that show?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, in the bits where they showed ghost stories, they would have a scene of the ghost, and that stuff used to scare the bejesus out of me as a kid.
Right.
Like, as a little kid. I mean, I'm talking about 6, 7 years old. And I'd be like, oh my God, ghosts are real. If I ever saw a ghost, I would die of fear. And I used to get so freaked out by real ghost stories as a kid. Like, I wouldn't be able to sleep for days. And I think back on that now, and I think back on how I am nowadays, like in the paranormal everything, now that since we got involved in it. And nowadays, if I see a ghost in my bathroom, I'm just like, yeah, whatever, dude.
You're just like, yeah. Well, they're not allowed in my bathroom. We have this thing in my house: no bathrooms, no bedrooms. Everything else is whatever, but no bathrooms, no bedrooms. Nope.
I'm gonna have to remind these guys now, though, out in the audience here and the chat. Just remember, all those people from the '80s, the ghosts in Brandy's house are treated like hooch in Turner and Hooch. Okay, she walks them through the house, opens the door. This is not your room. Closes the door.
This is not your room, and shut the door.
That's immediately what I was thinking when you said that. I was, oh my God, she's telling Hooch to stay out.
I know, and that's exactly what you have to do. I mean, I'm not trying to, cleanse my house or anything like that. We've been through the whole scenario, and because of what we do and the places we go, it is inevitable because we keep that, I'm not going to say that door open, but that third eye is wide open, and it happens. And I'm like, if you're not causing any problems, okay, here's the boundaries. Have fun. Go to it. I don't care. Just not
don't stand behind me and brush my hair.
Yeah, right. This is not your room. This is not your room. But
I have to go watch that movie now.
I know it was such a good movie. But I've not given up. I've just become more vigilant on allowing them to do certain things, and I do have boundaries.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we had to have a little talk before we came on. And it wasn't a real dark thing. If I would have blinked, I probably would have missed it. But I was just brushing my hair, and it just happened to just go whoop, and then down it went, and I was like, oh.
No bueno.
Oh, somebody's in trouble.
Hi, Jason.
First of all, I would like to start by saying thanks to Brian Bowden, Sir Brian Bowden, for his super chat that he left us before the show even started.
Yep.
Have a great show. See you all in a bunch of hours. Yes. We will be
Yes.
seeing Brian Bowden this weekend at the Emmaus Village. We are doing a benefit for Adam Whited for his family and the Half Inch Wrench crew because of the house fire that they had that took everything. And so we'll be doing that this weekend, which is going to be kind of exciting. I'm going to have to keep an eye on the weather because as for you, Randy, I have the same problem with the line of rain. Because when Randy gets weather, I get it too. It's just a matter of hours.
Yeah. Whether or
Yeah.
not you're farther up in the chain or not there.
Yeah, it just flows on that same, that same I guess
West east. Here we go.
I know it just goes right with it. So it goes north and east, and I'm north and east. So there.
Yeah.
So I get it too. So I'm gonna have to keep an eyeball on that. I may be delayed on getting to Emmaus Village, depending on what's going to happen. They're saying that most of the weather's supposed to stay to the east or to the west in Kansas City. So of course, all of our friends in Ray County at the Ray County Museum, keep your heads down, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
What else is going on? I'm trying to think real quick.
That's about it, really. Honestly, we haven't
so.
got a whole lot going on other than that.
I know. I just had that little blip tonight, and I mean, that's honestly, it's normal. Just not in that room, not in the bathroom.
This weekend's going to be pretty big for you, though, right? Because you're going to have that event for emails.
I don't. At Emmaus, I have better luck when there's just a few people versus a lot of people, but that's just me because I can sit longer in areas versus, instead of occupying a space, I will get up and move and let other people try their luck or, experience something there or whatever. When it's just us there, then I get to camp out and really get some things going. And then plus this weekend, I'll be doing some filming for some, YouTube content and things like that. Got me some real cool mics to hook up now. So the video will absolutely sound better this weekend. And, of course, Half Inch Wrench Crew is going to be filming. Miguel Ramirez is going to be filming. So on all of the channels, you're going to be able to see at least something coming out of what happens this weekend, which is going to be absolutely phenomenal.
Cool. That works. Hooray.
So are you going to be, are you expecting ghost action or are you expecting cryptid action?
We're also going to CE5. Now we have Terry Mosby showing up. CE5. Terry Mosby is going to be heading that up with Brian Bowden. They're going to be doing some CE5 stuff out because there is a clearing up there. It's a big old hill, and there's a church that's sitting right on top of this hill. And right back about 300 feet behind the church is a clearing. So right up on this big, huge hill, they're going to, see if they can't, do some CE5 stuff and see what they get there. So.
Oh, man.
Yep. So we're, and I'm gonna bring my I'm gonna bring my regular hiking boots, but I'm looking more like my mud boots are gonna be in order. But I'll be trekking through the woods and through the cemeteries this weekend also, and seeing what I can see. If I can even get up there now, that's going to be a different story because with all this rain coming in, we've talked about it before. We were talking about the cemeteries, how these cemeteries are on a hill. Okay. But through time and erosion, they are now coming down and they weren't buried that deep. So they are coming up. So, just a little bit. Just
wait,
more,
is it supposed to rain
than I'm comfortable with.
Randy, is it supposed to rain that weekend?
It is supposed to rain this weekend, yes.
This weekend, all weekend long for all of us.
Weekend's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Hey, but I got my rain gear. I ain't afraid of rain. I ain't afraid of it.
Damn, she said the R word. If you ain't raining, you ain't training.
Right. And I've got my Sawyer's tick spray and all that kind of good stuff. Thanks to Pops out there in chat. He recommended that to me a couple years back, and it's been my best friend ever since. So I got to spray all of my clothes down tomorrow and get them dried out and all that kind of good stuff before I put them on. I mean, I'm just getting prepared. I'm so super excited, But the problem is it's going to be Friday.
Yeah.
Friday afternoon is going to be the big problem because they're saying that it could get a little bit rough out there. So I may not travel if that be the case, only because that I would say 70 miles is on 2-lane curvy roads.
Driving conditions, yikes.
Yeah. So it's like on curvy roads and they go up and down and they're curving around because it is out there in the middle of Missouri. It's out there in the middle of Missouri. Yeah. And, we talked about that before, that, the Mark Twain National Forest runs all the way across, Missouri, and you're right smack dab in the middle of all that. So, I've got to take safety, into, consideration when I'm going to do this, but I will be there Saturday regardless, I will be there Saturday. So for anybody who is still wanting to go, of course, we still have tickets available. Just go to Emmaus Village on Facebook, or you can go to the website Emmaus Village, and they're selling the tickets from there. We are going to have a live band out there from, I think it is like 6 to 8. And we're going to see if we can't get some noise to kind of get these things moving, curious, get them some energy, whatever we're talking about here, whatever we're going to run into. So we have a live band out there to see what's going to happen. They haven't had live music out there in ages. So this is going to be actually a fantastic thing to do Saturday evening. And then at 8:00, well, guess what? We're going to get out there. And if it rains or whatever, and we can't do the things outside that we want to do, of course, we're going to be inside, and we do have tunnels to move from building to building. So we do have that. That's exciting too. So
yeah, you have fun with that one, okay? Because you said you did say tunnels, right?
Tunnels, we have tunnels to move from
you have
building
fun
to
with
building.
That. Does this guy look like a mole to you? Ain't happening.
No. They're walkable tunnels.
Once again, are you underground?
Yes.
Then that ain't happening. I do not look like the guy that goes in to clear a bunker or anything, right? No, ain't happening. No, I'm good.
It's going to be raining that much. I hope they don't get flooded.
Well, I don't think they will, because again, it's sitting up on a hill. The only thing is just getting everything soaked. That's about all that we're looking at right now, because it does sit up on a hill, so we shouldn't have any flooding potential or anything out there. Now, where I live, yes, but where that is, they shouldn't. They really shouldn't.
You're probably not going to see much with the CE5. The sky's going to be all like.
Yeah, if the skies are cruddy, well, I mean,
those UFOs would have to come down real low for you to be able to see them.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've heard of weirder things. But with CE5, you're calling them in, so it's not like you're just out there sky watching.
Yeah. Hey, Randy, you know what they say about CE5s? They're basically seances on steroids.
Well, y'all have fun with that. Like I said, just remember, you may be trying to call something in, but what if you're using the wrong language?
Well, you know what? I'm not going to be out there, so let them have it.
Brian and Brian and Terry, right? Is that who's going to be doing it? I hope y'all hear this. If you're out there and you're abducted, don't become talking about the anal probes after the fact. All right, I don't want to hear it. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, little Petty asked, before we get started real good, little Petty asked, where's your remote for the lights? So we don't have the light issue we had the last time.
It is, okay, everybody, right here.
See it. Got it.
I've had it there ever since. I mean, I had it where you couldn't see it, but it was sitting up on top. And that's when that started happening. It hasn't happened since. So it was a one-time thing. Yeah.
I think she just elbowed it. She don't want to let us know it. That's all.
Well, I have a it's kind of up here. I don't know if you can see real well, but there is a level, and it was sitting up on the second level where I can't put my elbow.
Doesn't mean you didn't do it.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't mean I didn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, we
it-
can't see your feet. We have no idea what your feet are doing
Yeah,
down there.
exactly.
I could
Yeah.
be a contortionist and putting my
Yeah.
foot around the back and smacking it over
She'd
there
be
without
doing all
seeing
sorts of
anything.
things with her feet right now.
I watched I Dream of Jeannie growing up. Okay, I know that stuff can happen. All right.
Look,
Yeah.
I'll break a hip. No pun intended, Rob. Just saying. I would break a hip.
Is Rob out
normal.
there? Oh, if Rob
I
ain't
know.
out there, man, you
I
just
don't
wasted
know, but
it.
if he watches, I'm sorry, Rob. I had to say that. It's you can't go ahead and do something that I already talk about doing. You can't.
Yeah.
Oh my
Poor
goodness
Rob,
gracious.
we love him.
He's gonna come out and start talking like this next. Oh, I'm gonna get my rheumatism medicine and.
Oh, I know it. I know it. We're gonna have to stop him. I mean, just last year, I mean, it was his knee when he blew out his knee.
Yeah.
And did all of that, and now his hip, and then before that it was his knee. He did it again to the same knee, and then it was the shoulder, and I'm like, he needs to be put in a bubble.
Yeah, Bubble Boy.
Yes, put him in a bubble.
I remember that movie too. God. Okay. Anyway. Hey, so
Right.
you know what? You know
The
what?
other
We're
thing I
actually.
wanted to do, hold on before we get going. The other thing I wanted to do is I want to give a shout out to Judy Wheeler out there. Hey, girl, I hope you're feeling a little bit better. I know you've been sick. Please send in good vibes, all that good stuff. Give her a little prayer if you're thinking about her, and let's get her feeling better. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. I'm done now.
Now we're going to turn it over to Donnie.
Yes, it's
so-
Donnie's turn.
The year, folks, is 1987. A 7-year-old Donnie Cho is taken to the South Brunswick Public Library in South Brunswick, New Jersey. It's a Saturday routine, right? His father would take him every Saturday to borrow books to build up his young mind, his young, intrepid mind. Donnie goes to the librarian and asks, "Where are your nonfiction kids' books?" Because at the time, Donnie was obsessed with dinosaurs and monsters. Librarian shows him this little gem, and this would be his first introduction ever in his life to the concept of cryptids.
Ooh,
The world of the
you know what's
unknown
really bad?
monster.
I had a
Yeah.
version of that back when I was in school back in the 70s.
Yeah. I showed his picture to Jason McLean. He was like, "I read that book when I was 7 too." So we were
Yeah.
like both 7 years old reading it at the same time.
Let me get it came from you got it from a library, but we got it at old book fairs, those school book fairs.
But yeah, this book was the first introduction to concepts like the Loch Ness monster, giant squids. It had dragons. It was the first time I was ever introduced to the concept of Yeti and the Bigfoot. Actually, I distinctly remember like the last chapter was about Bigfoot, and I thought that was like boring as hell. I was like, I don't care about no hairy monkey man in the woods. I want the dinosaur looking things. Because I was here for the dinosaurs. I was here for the dragons. I wanted them reptilian monsters, That's what I was about back then. So you get to the back where, it had the sightings of Bigfoot. Oh, for all these years, Bigfoot has been sighted in the American woods. As a kid, I was like, I don't care about Bigfoot. I want dinosaurs. That's why at first I read about the Loch Ness Monster. And for a while, I was obsessed with Loch Ness Monster, just like I was obsessed with, like, at the time, Godzilla and dinosaur movies. And what really captivated my mind back then was that somewhere out there, a real dinosaur could be lurking. So this was my first introduction to cryptids at age 7. Loch Ness Monster was the first cryptid I ever learned about and got into. And then, many years later, as an adult, I come into this paranormal cryptid community. And guess what? All these podcasts and shows about Bigfoot and Dogman. But where are them Loch Ness Monster shows, guys? Where's the Loch Ness Monster content? Because for a while in the 80s, when you talked about the weird and mysterious, what were the first things that came to mind? Bigfoot, Elvis, UFOs, Loch Ness Monster.
Right.
But it's like Loch Ness Monster fell off. Elvis and Loch Ness fell off, but we still get Bigfoot and aliens.
Yeah. And,
And
well, I am with you all the way on it because that was
this monster used to be the
when
first creature you would think of when the word
Yeah.
cryptid as like a household name.
in like the old show In Search Of, the first three things you see is the thing of the Bigfoot from the Patterson Gimlin. You've got the Yeti footprints from the Himalayas, and you've got a surgeon's photo from Loch Ness,
Right.
which we all know is fake now, but still, in 1971, 72, 73 time frame when In Search Of was really going, and this is where I got into everything paranormal and extraordinary is that, and this was one of the first things you see in that show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, those are like the Holy Trinity, if you want to get right down to it.
Yeah, because it used to be all that. I mean, we have now, like Donnie had said, we're advancing into Dogman and other creatures. Mothman is another one that it's not a hot topic, but it's a reoccurring topic with people. Black-eyed kids is fairly new thing that people talk about. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, Black Eyed Kid was fairly new. I think that first came about popularized in like the 90s, about the same time as Dogman.
But
Yes, Randy, I believe it was debunked.
Yes, that's what I said. It was fake, but at that time they didn't know it. Yeah,
there's the iconic one. Yeah.
Oh, it is debunked, and I debunked it. You want to know why I debunked it?
Why?
There it is, people. Loch Ness.
Oh yeah.
There it is. Just saying, that's how I debunked it. Yep.
Rain and Cleopatra talks to McKelly and Bimbe. We will talk about that again at a later time because that's one that's a whole show by itself with that one. That's the dinosaur of the Congo.
You know, and Donnie would probably love it if we had a whole show on dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Probably.
Can I take the what I'll do is I'll take the Jason McClain position of the monkey trials. I'll be the guy that argues that the Earth is only 40,000 years old. Okay.
Oh, the young Earth creationist.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm loading a few more pictures. Some iconic.
There he is. He must not have heard you there.
I know. So Rob shows up. There it is.
Yep. I'm gonna keep quiet. I'm not gonna throw you under the bus.
The show, Rob, to understand what we were talking about. We're not going to repeat that, but
yeah, because you're here now, and it ain't no fun if you're here to hear it.
Right.
Yeah, everyone's talking all that smack.
So let's talk more about Nessie.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, what else have you got? I mean, besides the whole, we stopped talking about Nessie.
Thanks for being here, Larry.
Why do you think that is, though? Why do you think of all the ones, like Nessie's the one that kind of fell off?
Oh,
because it was too hard for number one to get evidence.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just have to be in the right place at the right time. It was too much. Being on the water, like I said, in the location, it was another thing. And I mean, I honestly think if Nessie was seen in the United States in one of the lakes, that lake would be full all the time. I think that's just how we are as Americans, that we're more curious. We're looking for more evidence, more proof. I mean, we're always striving for the answer. I think that's it. I mean, that's why it fell off. It was just too hard, and that people were going by. Thank you, Larry, for doing that. Welcome to the one member of the. Oh, it's Judy. Judy got the one membership.
Judy, the member.
Welcome to the Booze Club. But I think that's it. I think that people it was easier to seek out Bigfoot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's in people's backyards, pretty much.
Yeah, you can just go out in the woods and look. You can, find things, all the time. If you know what you're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and then we have more sightings of just driving down the road, doing our normal everyday life things. And
Yeah.
we've had more sightings of Bigfoot, dogmen, and all of that crossing the road and having encounter stories with that than we do seeing Nessie coming out of the lake.
Well, yeah, because it's also local to us
Right.
versus across the pond, Now, I hear people talk about we talked about Ogopogo before and
Yeah.
Champ, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, this is not gonna make me popular and all at all. It's just
Uh-oh.
it's a plain and simple fact. And you could ask Donnie. He knows I am a Nessie and Lake Monster mark. I mean, honestly, I will literally I love the whole concept and the ideas of it, but everything that's come up as quote unquote uh, evidence has all either been debunked or it's quite frankly just mistaken identity. And anybody or just they're looking so hard to see something. Any shadow of wake is going to make them want to see what they want to see. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're
Right.
essentially in a paranormal universe where we're instead of manifesting that way, we're manifesting what we want to see that's already there, and we're turning it into that. And of course, they hit pareidolia a lot. So
Oh, I know. Have you ever sat and looked out at a large body of water for a long
mhm,
period of time? You start seeing things out there, kind of
yeah,
like a mirage type thing, you
exactly.
know. You're just wondering what's out there and this, that, and the other. And it's just one of those things that you can never get clear evidence on anything.
Mm,
Um,
yeah,
I really think that that's the truth. I think that just people, it was just too hard to go and try to investigate. And plus, you had
yeah,
to have a lot of money to do it at the time. Of course, you're going to have a boat, and you're going to have diving equipment. You're going to
yep.
have, underwater cameras. You're going to have all this amazing equipment that us poor people don't
Well,
have.
and even think about that. You talk about underwater cameras. Underwater cameras are next to no good in that lake with the peat in it.
Right.
You
I
got
mean, there's
Well,
so much
Loch Ness
silt.
is
Yeah.
notorious for having very low visibility.
yeah, 4
Yeah.
inches at spots. I mean, you're like, I don't even want to go dive it because I'm afraid of what's going to be, out past my hand.
Uh, True. True. Very true. Um, I don't know, Donnie. I mean, what do you think? I mean, honestly, I think it's just because it was just too hard to do it.
I think it's two reasons. One, it's not American. Seriously.
Hmm.
I mean, think about it like this. To investigate, you would need to actually go to Scotland, which is not easy for most people to do,
Yep.
right? So yeah, it's just too far away. And I think there's more of a stigma against water-based cryptids because when you're involving water, pareidolia is a much bigger deal
Exactly.
That is true.
because you can't see anything down there. So any kind of weird occurrence, it could literally be any of the fish, any kind of see with Bigfoot, finding a Bigfoot in the woods, they say, "Oh, it's a misidentified bear." I mean, but bear's like the only thing that could potentially be misidentified with the Bigfoot. With the water, literally anything can be misidentified as a water-based cryptid.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Well, yeah,
Anything. Yeah.
I just think there's no financial backing for it. I mean, there's even financial backing and when we're looking for megalodon. Okay, there is financial backing,
But there's a
scientific
reason.
backing to look for it.
There's a reason behind that. Look at all the vast sea and ocean you have to go look for it. Whereas, hey, you got a 2.5 mile wide lake that goes 23 miles. That's not a
Yep.
whole lot of room to, launch an investigation every year on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, if there was a patch of woods that was 23 miles long and 2 miles wide, where you knew absolutely Bigfoot
Mhm.
was, by now people would have found it. If it was
Yeah,
only confined to that area,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, it would have been so easily findable. People often ask me why there are no cryptids in Korea, because oftentimes I'll talk about like Korean like folklore or
Mhm.
mythology or paranormal.
Yeah.
The whole country is the size of the state of Pennsylvania
Yeah.
or like Iowa or something. That's the whole country. And most of it's urban. So you have, okay, take the entire population of Canada, because that's how big South Korea's population is. It's about the same size as Canada's,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but fit in a space the size of Pennsylvania.
Right. Right.
There's no room for there's not that many big swaths of wilderness there. There aren't. So there aren't going to be many places where a cryptid could potentially habitate. You're not going to find
Mhm.
much. So that's why there are no it's a it's a peninsula, so there's going to be a lot more water, sea monster stories and
Right.
legends,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
Korea has plenty of those.
Yep.
But something like a Bigfoot, there's not enough woods for it
No.
to live in.
Yeah. I
Korea's
mean,
just way too urban.
right, right. Now, we've had the conversation about living in Germany
Yeah.
and how they are all about the forest. They're all
There's
about wilderness.
There's a
They're
lot
all
of woods there.
about their
Yeah.
lands. So they build houses on top. They build on top of each other versus spreading out like Americans do.
Right.
So it's like multiple families can live in one building,
Right.
and I know that some countries don't do that, but you take in consideration the population size, and they can't. They can't. They're I mean, they can't spare that type of room for just trees.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually got a picture of where Loch Ness is on the map. If you look at its shape,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yep.
That little
South
slit
of
right
Ivory
there,
Coast. Yep.
that's what Loch Ness is. It's 23 miles long, 2 miles wide.
Loch Morar, somewhere in that area too, in the same general vicinity, which is supposedly
It's
has
very
its
deep
own
though.
too.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not the largest inland body of water by surface area in Scotland, but it is the largest in terms of volume. It's actually got more water in it than all the other lakes in the British Isles combined because it's so
Mhm.
deep.
Yeah. I think somebody had said it was 750 foot or 780 foot deep at one point, and it's just
Yeah,
been revealed in the last several months that they actually found spots now with their sonars that go up to 813 feet deep.
yeah.
So that's a
That's
very, very deep lake.
that's a deep lake. Yeah.
Right. Um, I'm sorry. I'm watching the weather too. They've got some stuff going on in Texas. What is it? Waxahachie?
Waxahachie. That's where Jason's at.
That's
That
where
Yeah,
area.
McLean's at.
yeah. They've got stuff going on Waxahachie, south of Dallas. Sorry guys, we're just keeping track of all of the of our group and stuff because
Yep.
we are spread out. So we're just keeping track. What is that? Who said? Who did the what?
Wait, what? Huh?
Leanne, member. Okay, sorry. I'm just looking at something else. Anyway,
Okay.
but yeah, it's looking
What?
at like Lancaster. I'm trying,
Yeah.
he keeps moving around, but I'm looking. But there is severe weather going on in Texas and it is spread up into my area.
A little bit east of me right now, so it's not quite hitting my area. So that stuff's
Yeah,
going up.
I feel like we're the
Oh,
weather channel sometimes, because we're just keeping track of everybody, all the way through here. Donnie, if you were having problems, we'd be watching you too.
yeah, I was watching him during the bomb cyclone.
Yeah,
I heard that.
yeah, they've got it looks like I'm sorry, it looks like hail,
It wouldn't surprise me.
60
It,
mile
it,
per hour winds. Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, so but I mean, there is so much going on with Nessie. I mean, everybody thinks that all of the pictures are fake.
Well, this one for sure. There are a
yeah.
few others that people find more interesting,
Mhm.
Like Jason tells me, the one in his opinion, the most interesting one is this one where they got a close up of the fin.
Yeah,
Um,
but I've got I've got some stuff on that one too, though. I mean, because I remember when that one came out. This was taken in '73, I think, was when it was first taken.
yeah,
But this augmentation that you're seeing right here is not the original photo. That photo that you just showed is one that was augmented by computers at the time, and it gave it the look because of the flipper, because of what the programmers at the time were telling it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So they were leaning it that way to start with. Now, if you find the original photo, it doesn't look. It looks like a log in the water. Is what it really looks like. So
And we got about this one.
yeah, that
Yes.
one that one was another one that was proved to be fake later on.
I mean, does Nessie really exist? Or is this folklore? I mean,
Well,
that's what we're dealing with right at this time in this moment.
Yeah,
other than the
It's
evidence being spotty,
yeah.
there are definitely eyewitness
Oh
accounts.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
like those but there were some, I think, in like the 50s or the 60s where people were reportedly witnessing it on land, like
Well, in the
crossing the street.
1300s,
Yeah.
there was a account. I would forget which pope it was. He was still a priest at the time, but that he became pope later on. That had an encounter. I can't remember which one it was, but he essentially banished it like a demon type thing back to the water because it was attacking something on
Yeah.
land, and he banished it out. Now this is all
That was like
folklore.
700 AD.
Or I thought it was 1300, but either
Hold on,
way,
let me look it up.
no big deal. I
I
mean,
know the account that you're talking about. Let me look
yeah,
up when it was.
and that was one of the first recorded accounts of it. So now you're talking about if it was accounted for, if it had the encounter back then. Now you've got to have a breeding population to make it this far.
Oh, Randy, it was actually 565 AD.
Was it
That
565? Okay, I
the
just for some
incident that
reason I
you're
was
talking
thinking
about. Yeah.
1300s, but still,
okay.
that's still a breeding population you need.
Yeah,
So
that's Roman
Werewolf
Empire.
had said something. Werewolf said maybe Nessie's just unalive.
Could
That
be.
very well could be.
Very could
Mm,
be.
that's why we're not getting any recent sightings.
Yeah,
I mean, what was the lifespan basically of one of these things?
yeah,
I mean, it's not 1,000 years. It's not. I don't think
definitely.
it's even 100 years.
I
I
would
think
I
they
think
were.
think yeah, I mean, I'm with you there. I'm thinking if the Loch Ness monster was a real thing, it's probably not around anymore. I mean,
mhm.
Right.
they've put like hydroelectric dams in Loch Ness, and hydroelectric dams have a tendency to really mess with the local fauna.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. And the electrical currents can send fish
yeah,
into a tizzy, and it kind of makes them like not know where they are, what they're doing, what they're supposed to be there doing. So they forget to spawn or whatever they're doing.
yeah,
They're just like they just don't do it anymore. It just messes up their entire ecosystem
yep,
with this, and it just turns them into something else. I mean, I've seen videos on it where they set an electrical current going through the water. Even it wasn't even close to fish, but as soon as they turned it on with it, they just started going crazy.
yeah.
So I
Because it
mean, could that have something to do with what had happened? I don't know, but I don't think Nessie is still around.
no,
I don't think so.
and I'm kind of the thought that I understand what they were saying, something on land per se or whatever that was, you know, forced back into the drink, by whoever or whatever at any one time. I still don't think in any way, shape, or form it was a plesiosaur like they kind of talk about.
no,
Mhm,
no, I don't think it was a
mhm,
plesiosaur.
No,
mhm.
Um, couple of things why. The eyewitness accounts say that the Loch Ness monster would like chill out on land sometimes,
hmm
kind of like a seal. Those,
that's
those were
kind of
the early accounts, and these were the accounts from like turn of the century, go all the way up to like what were the more famous ones? 1930s. There were a
yeah,
bunch of 1930s.
yeah.
Well, I
Gee,
uh,
mean,
It's all on the rocky shores, if I remember right, wasn't it?
Yeah.
From like the drawings and things like that, it's kind of made to be able to do that like a seal.
Yeah.
Like it's not a purely underwater animal. Like it is like a seal. It can come up, it can breathe air, and it can hold its breath for a long period of time underwater.
Plesiosaur was a purely underwater animal.
Yeah, it would have never come out on land like that.
Right.
Now, I found I did look into the plesiosaur because I did find the theory kind of interesting. Well, first of all, it's pretty ridiculous that a breeding population of prehistoric reptiles from that age, from like the age of the dinosaurs, would make it all the way to today, especially since Loch Ness wasn't even around back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Actually, to go into the geological history, the reason why the Loch Ness looks the way it does, why it looks like just like a long slit, really, is because it's part of a fault line. That's a fault line
Oh.
right there. That's where two tectonic plates meet. There's actually a lot of like earthquake activity that occurs there, like geological, like tectonic activity.
It's all
So
light compared to what we get over here, obviously.
Okay.
But
yeah, but there's going to be weird stuff there regardless if you're going to
Mhm.
be right there. Like it is literally part of the fault line.
So that makes me wonder if this thing perhaps opened up something underwater that we're not aware of, where it could have passed through, gone somewhere else, or went out to sea because of the activity. Something, it could have done something like that.
I think that was one of the theories, wasn't it? If I'm not mistaken, at one point there was a theory because a lot of these lakes that have the lake monster phenomena going on are along the same parallel,
Right.
basically. And there was a theory at one point, and this was probably late '90s, running into mid 2000s, that there was an actual, for lack of a better term, I hate using it like this, but hollow earth type theory where all these locks and lakes were all interconnected through an underground passage system. And of course, there's never been anything to prove it one way or the other. I don't know that anybody ever went actually looking for it.
Mhm.
So,
Well,
I
honestly,
think
I mean, if this thing went out to sea, what are the chances of ever seeing it again?
yeah,
Right.
I mean,
You
it would
know?
have
Yeah,
to
I
go
mean, it's
back in there.
plausible that okay, so maybe there was a surviving population of plesiosaurs.
Mhm.
Okay. By the way, a little trivia. Okay. Plesiosaurs themselves are pretty interesting because they were actually around from the start of the Triassic all the way until the Cretaceous asteroid event. So they were there for the whole time of the dinosaurs, which is pretty remarkable for any
Mhm.
sort of megafauna. Think about it like this, okay, Brandy?
Okay.
The T-Rex, when it first came about, in terms of like distance and time, was closer to the iPhone than it was to the very first plesiosaur.
Okay,
Really?
say that one more time.
So the distance and time
Yeah.
between T-Rex and the iPhone is shorter than the distance and time between the first plesiosaur and T-Rex.
Oh,
So
okay.
Plesiosaur was well before even T-Rex. So we're
Yeah,
talking
but
about
the
the
plesiosaurs
Cretaceous.
actually were around when T-Rex went extinct. They had been there
Okay.
the whole time. I mean, they reached their peak in the Jurassic period, but
Yeah.
they were there in the early Triassic.
Yeah.
That's like 210 million years ago. T-Rex was around 65 million years ago. So
Yeah.
technically, T-Rex was actually closer to us in time.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Didn't even
Okay.
think about that
So,
one. So yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't either. That's weird. Oh my gosh.
Thanks,
All right.
Moon.
So the fact that, like,
Thank you,
okay, so
Moon.
in that regard, okay, plesiosaurs were very resilient compared to other animals. By the
Mhm.
way, do you know why they had that very particular body shape?
Wow.
No.
So the idea, and this is a recent discovery. This is something that recently they kind of figured out about plesiosaurs.
Mm.
Plesiosaurs kind of fit the same niche as like I would say like marlins. Basically, what they were they would swim long distances in the open ocean, like towards this, towards like the shallower waters, like more closer to the surface. And the reason why they had such long necks like that is because for catching small fish, which what they normally fed on, you if it was just a head and this big body was way behind it, it would be easier for it to catch the fish because the head would come up on the fish. The fish wouldn't notice the body because the body's way back there.
Ah,
So
okay.
Makes sense.
it was a mechanism for catching fish.
Makes sense. Yeah.
You know how marlins, they kind of had that protrusion in front of them?
Yep.
Yes.
Because even though their bodies are big, they're what they want to
Yeah,
catch
the
is
sword.
small.
The
Yeah.
sword out in front of them. Yeah.
Basically, that same niche was what plesiosaur fulfilled. It had 4 fins, and they would alternate, like, the front 2 would go up, and while the bottom 2 would go down, and they would switch back and forth. An animal like this was not designed to, like, occasionally chill on land as the Loch Ness Monster was reported of doing.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. That makes sense. Honestly, it really does.
Now, the other thing that was a dead giveaway for the longest time while everyone thought, like, this was the Loch Ness Monster, any
Mhm.
paleontologist would have told you, yeah, plesiosaurs, their necks, they don't even bend that way.
No.
They can sort of bend, but they don't their heads can't bend at a 90-degree angle like that.
Yeah.
Their
No.
vertebrae aren't even designed for that. Again, what their necks were designed to do were to stretch out in front of them so they could catch small fish.
So yeah. So
So,
they didn't actually come up and come out of the water and make
no, they wouldn't do
head.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. God, that makes more sense. But once again, when it was
Then
taken,
again, yeah,
how
this
it was
was a too
done.
complete a hoax, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people believe that for 50 years that was a legit photo. So
Yeah.
Mhm. But it makes me wonder if these were more bottom feeders because of the way that their neck would kind of go down. And I mean, all they'd have to do is open their mouth and scoop.
very well could have been. Could have done something like that anyway.
Yeah, that's weird though. I mean, okay, so all right. So we're comparing Nessie to dinosaurs. Of course, I
Mhm.
think that's what she was anyway. Um, but what other cryptids do we talk about that are basically dinosaur descendants? I mean,
Membi
Yeah.
in
Well, Killing Him is
Congo.
the biggest one in the Congo. Yeah.
Yeah. That
yeah.
deserves its own show.
Well, of course, a pterosaur. I mean, we
Pterosaur.
talk about those. I think that the Thunderbird is some kind of remnants from that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, Bigfoot be something from that? I mean, I always say about the evolution, I think that Bigfoot in just one theory, that Bigfoot was in our evolutionary line. It took a left and everybody went right.
I mean, if it's real and it's out there, if it's a physical flesh and blood creature, then for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
And
Although a
I
lot of
think
people say it's Gigantopithecus, I disagree with that.
It wouldn't be exact. That'd been even if that was the case and it originated with Gigantopithecus, it's an offshoot of it. It's still not a true Gigantopithecus.
The importance of Gigantopithecus is to prove to us that apes can get that big. That
Exactly.
is enough. That
Period.
doesn't mean I think Gigantopithecus is Bigfoot. No.
Yeah. No.
yeah. And of course, we always talk about the Bigfoot camp. You've got the apers, and then you have, the more on the human descendant side. I don't know which way to go with that. It could be a little bit of both, depending on when it left the evolutionary line and just stopped evolving the way that we went. I was watching a lot of shows on like Neanderthals and all of that kind of stuff. Well, they are discovering a new subspecies, and I mean, there is lots of stuff breaking open when it's coming to this.
There's
I
so much
am,
we still don't know. Yeah.
yeah, there's so much breaking that I, I'm not sure where Bigfoot came from, honestly, because everything that we thought we knew like 30 years ago, well, today is totally different because, like I said, they are finding new subspecies that may have intermingled with, you know, Homo sapiens and with Neanderthals. So we are creating subspecies, but now they're finding a new one that is totally different. So I'm like, I'm getting really confused. I wish they'd hurry up and figure it out. Of course, I'm not scientific in that way. I wish I was, because that would be so interesting to me. I should have went to college to be an archaeologist or something like that.
Yeah.
But but now that they're finding all of these new things, maybe some of this DNA that they're finding can be linked back to maybe some of this new subspecies they're finding, or something else, another subspecies that we haven't even hit yet. So it's all becoming exciting to me, except it's becoming more confusing. So everything that we thought that we had as a puzzle piece is now we got a whole new puzzle, everybody.
Yeah.
That's what it's coming down to. We got a whole new puzzle.
There's still so much we don't know. Like I follow a lot of content about paleontology. Good
Yes.
Lord, I can't speak today.
Yes.
And they're still arguing over whether or not T-Rex had lips. T-Rex, you know how like on all those illustrations of T-Rex, or when it closed its mouth, you would see its teeth?
Yeah.
Yes.
They don't know if it was like a Komodo dragon. You know, a Komodo dragon, when it's got its mouth closed, you don't see any teeth.
Yeah.
Right.
But a crocodile keeps its mouth closed. You see all the teeth sticking out, right?
Yes.
They still can't even figure out if T-Rex had lips or not.
Well, I don't think they're ever going to figure it out either.
I mean, they're big teeth. I don't think it's important. Okay. I don't think it's important.
That's a big difference in how it looks, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we got the general idea. Yeah. I mean, they have found skeletal remains. They know basically what it looks like. Now, whether it showed its teeth or didn't show its teeth, I mean, it's not one of the biggest mysteries that I would be going after at this point. I mean,
the evolving of
it was big and it could eat you. Yeah, it was
the evolving.
Yeah.
Right.
The evolving of the people that are actually investigating it and looking at each of these different skeletons and so forth and so on. Because remember, in the 70s, we thought dinosaurs walked upright.
Right.
With their tail hanging.
Yeah.
I remember looking at those pictures as a kid in the 80s.
Land of the Lost. Remember that show?
Yeah.
Grumpy always walked straight up, I mean, tail dragging the ground.
I don't know. It just amazes me about all this other stuff that we're dealing with. Of course, we're dealing with the reptilian phase. I think that everybody is going through right now, thinking that reptilians exist in our government or walking among us, all of this other kind of stuff.
Hey, I don't care about your political beliefs, okay, people? It doesn't mean they're actual reptilians, all right?
I mean, but
Moon got it right there. That's what you need the lips for.
You know what I love about reptilian conspiracy theories? It's the only cryptid where you can mix in your political beliefs together. It's like cryptid in politics. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like politics. That's why they've gone absolutely
hard to get political
crazy.
with Bigfoot or Dogman, but with reptilians, you get real political.
Oh yeah.
Oh sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think we should just do a whole map of, not a map, but a poster of everybody that's in the Senate and everybody that's in Congress, and then we should just start naming off who we think is.
You know what? Actually, Brandy, that gives me an idea for my show, because this show we can't do politics talk because we got to appeal to the masses. But my show, on the other hand, Oh, we're talking lots of politics.
Oh, yeah.
There we
I
go.
should get Bowden up in here and be like, Bowden, which politicians, who in Washington D.C. is a reptilian, and just have him go off,
Yeah.
Alex Jones style. We should do
Yeah.
that. So, you guys
Yeah,
want
I'm
to
gonna check out on that one. I'm gonna check
You
out
know,
on
but that brings me back, to the woman
Yeah.
on the airplane. Now we all know her. If you don't know her name, I can't remember her name either, but I know exactly what she looks like and I know exactly what she said.
She
That's
doesn't
not
exist
human.
now, though. She disappeared.
She did. She's like,
got
that's
deleted.
not
Yeah.
human. She said, that is not human.
Yep. Anywho,
But the thing about it is that she reacted in such a way on that video
mhm.
that I don't know. I totally believed her just because the sound in her voice. I mean, she must have been the highest paid actor in Hollywood if that's the case. You know, they said, "Oh, she's faking it. She was lying. It was all a put on. It was this, that, or the other." And then other people are going, "No, she really did that." But imagine that. Just what Donnie said. She disappeared. That's kind of odd, don't you think? And then this whole thing comes out. Oh, yeah. Well, guess what? Aliens exist. Okay. But yet they were calling her crazy sitting on an airplane. So, I mean, you just think about that if you want to, but that is one of the things that got me the most. If there was ever somebody that I would believe, because Randy and I go through this where we're watching videos and we also go by the emotions and the reactions of the people actually getting the evidence. And, something like that, I don't know. I 100% believe that she had seen something and now she's just gone. Gone.
Yeah.
So
I like to say deleted. She was erased.
Men in
she
Black.
might have been erased.
Men in Black.
Absolutely.
And
We
was
could
Loch Ness
go into all
Monster
kinds of
involved?
theories about that one, but this is not the right show. I
And
mean,
was Loch
yeah,
Ness Monster involved?
yeah, we could talk about all kinds of things, but this is not the right show.
Oh, by the way,
I
can
don't
I give you my personal theory on what if the Loch Ness Monster were real, like
Yeah.
what I think it was?
Yeah.
I don't think it was a plesiosaur. It just doesn't make sense.
Nope.
I actually think it could be an undiscovered species of mammal, an aquatic mammal.
Okay. Now, do you think it was from it was like maybe a dinosaur that we don't know existed, or do you think this is a new type of mammal that may have wandered in there and just hung out for a while?
I think because after the dinosaurs were gone, right? After they went extinct and prehistoric reptiles went extinct, the oceans got taken over essentially by giant like sharks, fish, and aquatic mammals.
Mhm.
The only few aquatic reptiles that remained were sea turtles. So basically, for an isolated group of aquatic, because for a species to thrive, right, to develop, to evolve, it's got to evolve. It's got to be a breeding population. It's got to have like a family tree. If it's just this one isolated branch, just this one giant aquatic reptile just swimming around like that, but then there's no other aquatic reptiles, that makes way less sense to me than maybe it was an aquatic mammal instead that was just unidentified. I mean, we're still just now figuring out new species of
Absolutely.
dolphins
Oh yeah.
because
Absolutely.
there were a lot more like aquatic mammals. They kind of took over the oceans after the age of the dinosaurs. Not completely, but
You
I mean,
would
there were
think
still
with
some.
you would think that with in places where they overfish our oceans and things that we
Yeah.
would run across more of these.
Right.
And we just haven't. Maybe they did, they just didn't pay attention or
Right.
mark it down or report it or anything. They're just like, oh well, it's a type of dolphin and just, done away with it. But they basically may have fished them to extinction or almost extinction, and
Yeah.
they're coming back. I mean, a lot of things are, that they thought were extinct are coming back. I always make the point of saying the gibbon monkey. The gibbon monkey, they always thought that it was extinct until they came across some Miller monkeys, and there was a gibbon right in the middle of them. So they are refinding things that they thought were extinct, but they just had to be left alone long enough to start to repopulate. And they're going out into these more remote areas to get away from humans to do that. It's survival. That's exactly what they're doing. And I'm thinking that a lot of these mammals, or just basically fish in the ocean, are doing the same thing. I mean, don't you remember when the anglerfish was a big deal? They didn't even know that existed. They didn't even know that how certain fish, jellyfish, for instance, would light up when they got down to a certain depth, and they would look like a disco ball. They had all these lights and everything going off all the way around it, and many what do they call those vertebrate, or I'll think of the name probably at 3 a.m. Anyway.
I mean, think about it. We just discovered there's such a thing as a colossal squid out there. Not the giant squid.
Yeah.
But then there's another one called the colossal squid. They're not even in the same family. They're not even related.
No.
Right.
One's got hooks in its tentacle, and the other one's got suckers.
Yeah, they're not even.
I mean, when y'all start talking about the Kraken, we're probably going to believe you.
Yeah.
Well, technically, they kind of proved it was real, actually.
Yeah. That's the colossal squid. It actually looks like a Kraken.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, oh, I guess Krakens are real. And you know what? Nobody cared. Nobody cared.
No.
I don't know why.
Nobody blew their minds.
I don't know why. I mean, these are things that nightmares are made of. And people are dismissing them. I mean, because to most people, and I'm going to say most, sharks are like, absolutely one of the worst things to run into. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you talk about the great white and blah, 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 I mean, but the giant squid taking down boats, it's in the folklore. They talk about it many, many times in folklore about that happening. So, I mean, to me, it's just kind of like, that's a nightmare.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be underwater with one of those things. Hell no.
No, I mean,
hell no.
But this is another thing, because how it was always a thought of mine that when we were talking about the planes and what they see up there, and now that all that information is starting to come out, where we're seeing actual footage of what these jets and everything are seeing, I wonder what submarines are seeing.
That's the problem with it. The ones that do put stuff out there, it's all such a flash because of the lack of visibility and the lack of light. You can't tell what's going on. It might as well be the Patterson Gimlin film all over again. It might as well be the Freeman film all over again. Everything's all blob squatches for the most part.
And fast forward, by 1,000%.
Like, and don't get me wrong, that's my deepest fear. I will never ever be in a sub, ever. Forget it.
Hell no. I'm way too claustrophobic for that.
I'm not claustrophobic, but I don't want to be underwater when that sucker decides it wants to give way. Yeah. When that Titan imploded and stuff a couple of years ago,
at least that was my worst nightmare ever. Think of that. And when they always lost this way, and then somebody said, well, there was a sound, they found a sound, they heard a sound this way, I heard a sound, I said, I knew immediately. I said it imploded, and as deep as they are, they didn't even know what happened. It was that quick. No, not for this boy. Not going to happen, because I'm not going to be down there. Yeah, one day they're underwater looking for the Titanic, and then they look over and they're like, Jesus, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
You're in the afterlife.
What about the people who like to cruise? Take those cruises.
Nope. Don't even like that.
I'm okay until I lose sight of land, and then I have
the thing I fear most about cruises are the people.
I about to say I just don't like people in general.
Yeah, mine is when I lose track of land. It's when I can't see it anymore. I have panic attacks. That's why it's I can fly over water. I mean, all I gotta do is just put the window shade down and just ignore it. But when you're on the water, there's something about it is when I lose sight of land and I can't get off, and it's going to be days before I can.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know
and I can
that.
understand that.
And so, I
I
mean,
rode
and a
on.
lot of it is fear of what's in the water. It really, really is. It's they got lifeboats and da 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 da. The Titanic story. Well, okay, I got you, but they're more advanced now than it was then.
Yeah.
So it's safer. And I'm thinking that what terrifies me is in the water. That's what gets me the most, because once you get out there, then that's when I start thinking about the Kraken, and then I start thinking about the Megalodon, and then I start thinking about all these things in the water that could just
Hey,
eat me alive.
The
that's
thing
You
that
that's
know,
what
scares me isn't
oh,
what's into water. The thing that scares me is the water itself.
it's, yeah,
Because
that's what
yeah,
scares me most. What because the water can do other things to you while you're on that ship.
yeah.
right,
It's-
So no,
right.
and
I mean, that's
and
the thing that's most likely to kill you.
quite frankly, if it ain't got a trolling motor on it, I don't get on it as far as boat goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love getting out on the water. I mean, that's not the problem. It's just when I lose sight of land. That's
Right.
I get the panic attacks. Um, some people get panic attacks when they fly.
Yeah,
I don't. It's just the
worst
water thing, and I think that there's so many variables in it.
worst fear ever. Just go watch the Poseidon Adventure, either one of them, and you'll get my worst fear right there.
There you go. There it is.
Anywho,
Um,
so
Anywho,
we were talking about Loch Ness. Now everybody knows who Loch Ness's know all, be all, end all is, right? You don't know
tell
who
us.
he is. You
Tell
don't know
us.
who he is.
tell us.
The man, the myth, the legend, Adrian Shine. That
Tell
dude
me.
is, without a doubt,
Mhm.
the foremost expert on anything Loch Ness as far as research goes. Okay. See, and he can even have a beer on the lake. That's my kind of guy. And of course, he was on every one of those shows. You know what I mean? Any documentary show about Loch Ness in any way, shape, or form went through Adrian Shine. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah.
And I was telling Donnie backstage, it's like, and when I was reading up and trying to get stuff ready for this show and look at some stuff, I was like, wait a second. About 7 months ago, he came out and said, "Yeah, it doesn't exist." I'm like, what? Wait, what? Huh? He said after all the stuff that they done, every kind of sonar run, because he ran Deep Scan back in '87, I think it was when Operation Deep Scan went. He said all that stuff we did, we should have turned something up. Something somewhere would have come up. I don't think it exists. It exists.
Yeah, but they're just saying as if it stayed in the area, though. I mean, they're thinking at that point that Nessie was staying right in that area.
Yeah.
That's where that
Hmm.
it stayed.
Right.
What if it just came to visit? What if
Yeah.
it was, a feeding ground
There
that
is
it
a
was
there are a couple rivers that lead in and out of it. So maybe
Yeah.
right,
it just goes
And
there to breed.
that's why the seals
That
can
wouldn't
get
be
in and out of there.
yeah.
right. I mean, because we were talking about the seismic activity that's going on. Maybe there is some underground caves or waterways that we are unaware of.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
uh,
That wouldn't be unheard of either.
No,
Like
and they
right.
a lot of
can't find
aquatic
them.
animals do that.
They can't find them because there's spots in that lock that are still to this day, and like we were talking about before the show, me and Donnie, there are spots that even the sonar can't reach. It's like sonic dead spots. But the
Mhm.
way
Mm.
the cave formations, the rock formations are, they block anything from getting into the area. So you can't really tell what is there.
Yeah,
And
that's what I'm saying. That maybe that it just come from time to time, and we were talking about the lifespan of it. Okay,
mhm, yep,
and what this particular one, because there may be more. This
exactly.
particular one has gone and passed away, so it no longer visits that same area.
Very well could, yeah. But I'm just
You know,
talking about in the stuff that's been done in the last 50 years, okay? And even this sonar that came out. later on, they come back and say, well, technically speaking, because it went through two different levels or two different levels of temperatures of water, and by the time the sonic went through and then came back, if that was a school of fish, they had moved that much that could make it look like it was that shape.
Right.
So now we've got a whole bunch of things going on that you're like, okay, now we can explain pretty much any sonar hit they get for the most part in that lake because of how deep it is.
Right. Right.
Then you've got the eDNA test they did 10 years ago or a little bit less. 250 samples at different levels at different spots in the lake over 18 months, I think is what I said that they were doing it. Not one oddball bit of eDNA out of that lake. But the one thing they did get that they were not expecting and got an abundant amount of it was eel DNA.
That's
They
right.
didn't even know eels were in
have eel, and it does have. They confirm it does have eel.
Yeah.
Actually, this is the species of eel that are in Loch Ness. It's the European eel, which they did confirm. These grow about like 4 feet long.
Yep. But if there's one of those like that, there is a possibility of there being a quote unquote giant eel in there, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
But not to the 20, 40 foot range, but definitely could be there.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's always a possibility.
Yep.
I mean, because you can always talk about mutations and things like that. I mean, 'cause we're always talking about pollution and all the things that can occur to animals to make them mutate. And I mean, could it make it larger? Sure. Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, that guy used to be the one I would always go to whenever somebody would say, "Hey, what we did this, we did that. What did Adrian Shine say about it?" That's the one that I would always go to.
Yeah.
And if he sits there and tells me that hey, we don't think it exists, he says it likely doesn't exist now, is what he said.
Okay.
So, which makes sense because what we're coming to
all of
to
those
is,
sightings were all concentrated in the 1930s.
Yeah, or before.
Yeah.
So
maybe a few here and there in like the 50s and 60s, but it was if you look at the list of all the sightings, there's a bunch in the 1930s.
Yeah.
Do you think that's like kind of like mass hysteria kind of thing? Oh, I saw Loch Ness. Oh, I did too. Oh, yeah,
Again, manifesting it. Manifesting it.
I also think maybe
just
back in
wanna
the
tell a story.
1930s there was an actual creature, but ever since they built the hydroelectric dams,
Yeah,
that's when that was a wrap.
Well, I got one that I haven't been able to quote unquote explain, and people have said this, and I showed it to you earlier, Donnie. There was a gentleman in 1952 that used the lock to try and break the boat speed record. Okay, because of how long it is and how still it is. It was being used, and I got the video of this.
It was a good water runway. So
it's a great water runway. He had a
boat racing,
jet boat ready to go, and I'm going to show you all this. This is John Cobb, 1952. Okay, and there's no sound to it at all. It's just newsreel type footage. Let me get the.
I tried to break the water record on Loch Ness,
and we'll get it back to full speed for this part right here now. As it's going through and everything, I mean, this was a big thing back then. Of course, Britain is pumping this out to everybody, right? They look what the Brits are doing, look what the Brits are doing, look what the Brits are doing. You can see the wash coming off of that jet, okay? He isn't playing games. This dude is literally, he's dead set on breaking it, and he'd already broke it 2 or 3 times before he was going for another one. But look how flat and easy that surface is, okay?
Yeah.
I think he reached 153 miles an hour at that point on that surface. Now this is the one. If you watch, he is booking. He's probably covered 2 miles while you're watching him. You know what I mean? And as he goes along, all of a sudden, boom,
Boom. Man,
and
that
that's
thing
all
that
she
thing
wrote.
just got vaporized.
Yeah, it destroyed it at that speed to hit that, and that man is gone that quick. Now, when you look back at this one again, I'm going to pull it back so you can see, and I'm going to drop the speed now to a quarter. Watch the front end of this boat. Nice and smooth, and all of a sudden, see it dip
Yep,
down right there?
yep. And that was
That's
a
a
wreck.
wake. It hit a wake that wasn't there. It shouldn't have been there. Now, when you're smooth the rest of the way across there,
Yeah.
and for years and years and years, people believed it was the wake of something big, something very big out there that caused it. Well, any wake would have caused that dip like that. It could have been anything under the sun that literally made that wake, but something had to have made that wake for him to have that issue.
And they won't let other boats be in there making any type of ripple in the water because of that.
Exactly.
So something
You saw
under
when
the
he was,
water had caused
yeah.
it.
So you saw back here. I mean, when he come across here, there's another boat sitting there, but it's just sitting still. As he goes past it right there, see it back there? It's
Yep.
not doing anything. It's sitting still, probably where it was actually being filmed. And he's
Right.
smooth as glass up until this one point.
And he's way away from the boat by now.
Yeah, it's a long ways away. And you see the nose just start all of a sudden, kind of giving a little bit up, and then all of a sudden, boom! Look at that nose in.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
Yeah. So I don't know that it was, quote unquote Loch Ness monster per se or anything like that, but something created that wake for the nose to go down like that.
It could have been just a design flaw though of the boat. I mean, those things tend to happen.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%. But
Especially when they try to break speed records, there's things to account for that they don't account for, you know.
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
but what would cause it? Obviously, what caused it to do it dipped into something.
Yeah.
It dipped into a wake. I think the boat would have been fine if it had stayed glassy like that. But
Actually, if it was more of a design flaw, it would have actually lifted up and then
I
flipped
think it would
back.
have
Because you
blown
see
backwards.
that happen a lot more often when they try to break those speed records.
Yeah, especially with the hydroplane boats.
Yeah.
Yeah, the racing
true.
boats. You see them fly up and backwards and stuff because they
Yeah.
become a wing. They become a wing on
Yeah,
the water.
become a
They do.
wing. That's what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, it is an interesting video because they still haven't figured out what happened.
no,
Yeah.
they just
They
know
don't
that there
know.
was a wake there. That's all they know, and that's
But
the slowest I've ever looked at it. That literally I'm like, okay, there it dips in, it goes into a trough of some sort, and that's what ends it.
but it could have hit anything though at that point, right? I mean,
Exactly.
The Loch Ness monster also isn't the only big creature in the
No.
Loch
Nope.
Ness. They got these bad boys.
Yep.
European sturgeon. These things grow up to like 20 feet.
Yeah.
That'll knock a hole in somebody's boat.
Yeah.
I
Even as
mean,
it was
you
swimming by.
imagine though, like I mean, in pareidolia being a thing, I'm pretty sure people have seen this thing and probably thought, "Oh my God, it's a Loch Ness monster."
Yeah.
It could be.
Sturgeon break the surface all the time.
Well,
Yeah.
they had said that a lot of that, I mean, could be the misidentification that it's possibly one of the big sturgeon running around, and that they're just saying that it's Loch Ness because of when it appears in the water. Sometimes it appears a little bit bigger than than it is,
True.
but it's a big fish anyway.
True.
Yeah.
So I mean, say you run across a 20-footer and it looks like 25-foot. Or even 30, depending on how you're looking at it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, I mean, this thing would scare you,
Yeah.
and
Very.
it could knock a good hole in your boat. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
now I'm hungry for caviar.
if I'm not mistaken, isn't there reports of the Greenland shark making it into Loch Ness?
I don't
I
know
don't
about
know.
that. I haven't heard anything about that. I mean, that's purely
It's conjecture as far as I saw, but I didn't know if there was anything. I didn't read everything that was on the
I mean,
list of the
yeah, 700
DMV.
some odd feet is deep, but Greenland shark are like deep, deep.
Yeah, but they're
They're
also
like
in
an
saltwater. So,
yeah.
I mean, did they make it into that? I mean, could they
By the
have?
way,
Yeah,
that's another really amazing animal that nobody
yeah,
talks about.
yeah. Coolest thing, them and a narwhal, are like
Like,
the coolest things to
yeah,
ever look at.
another really freaky creature where if you describe that to someone who never heard of it, they're like,
Yeah,
"No, there's no way a creature like that exists.
looks like
No
a
Okay.
way."
Do we
dorkfish.
have a picture? Well, now we have to see it.
Greenland shark? Okay, I'll pull
Yes.
one up.
Because we really need, and the other one, Randy, that you were talking about, because now we have to see it. Because now since we're talking about these weird looking things, I mean, could these things be misidentified as something else?
Well, I would not think a narwhal would.
Greenland shark coming right up. Hold on one
Okay.
second.
Yeah, because I mean, I would really like to say, maybe these things are, like I said, being misidentified, especially anything past the 1930s, because it kind of dies out a little bit. I mean, they have a sighting here, a sighting there, but after the 1930s, it just kind of, the whole Nessie story just goes bleh. And so I'm wondering if what they were seeing after that may have been something else that could have, went into the waters.
Are you
But
uploading now?
Yeah, I'm uploading now.
Okay, well, I'm gonna show this one while you're uploading.
This is what a Greenland shark looks like.
that thing is weird.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
weird.
They are, and they are so slow moving, and I've seen people hook into them and bring them up, and they have to, of course, they have to let them go and go. Their metabolism is so low and so slow that they could eat something and still stay under the ice for years. It seems like, if I'm not mistaken, at the
These
bottom
things,
of the ocean.
Brady, I don't know if you're aware about these things, but these things are effectively immortal. They've found Greenland shark specimen that have been like around longer than like America has.
Yeah,
Wow.
hundreds of years
Like
old.
hundreds of years old. They don't reach
Wow.
sexual maturity until about 50 or 60 years of age. Because their metabolism's so slow. They
And
move so slow.
where do these sharks mostly reside at?
In like
In
the Arctic
colder
Ocean,
waters?
in very cold waters and near the bottom.
Yep.
Okay.
That's why we find out so little about them.
Yep.
But
Bottom dwellers. Okay.
like, there's some that have been around since like the French Revolution.
Yeah, like Randy said here, the estimate them to live like 400 years at times.
At least.
And it very well could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be even more than that
Maybe.
for all we know. Now, what I'm talking about with narwhals, that's a different animal. That's a type of a whale. Okay. That's a narwhal right there.
Yeah.
Yes, that big, giant freaking tusk out front.
That's weird.
That's the estimate on it. And we're on Wikipedia here in case anybody wants to look at it. There's their range. That's the Arctic Circle right there.
Okay. So they're cold water.
Very much so.
Okay.
They're breaking surface, but they're still technically a whale. So
Okay. The unicorn of the ocean. I love that.
yep, that's exactly what they were called for a
That was
long
good,
time.
Rain. The unicorn of the ocean. I love it.
Yep. But yeah, but there's no way a narwhal gets into Loch Ness. First of all, I don't believe that in any way, shape, or form. Even
Greenland
if there
sharks
was
don't
an
even live
opening,
in fresh water, so they can't.
yeah,
That's
why I don't think they would have. But somebody had kept saying because of how deep it is, maybe they got caught in there. Well, they still live in salt water.
Yeah,
They
and
don't live
700
in
some odd feet is not deep. I mean, that's
not for
relatively
them.
deep for a lake, but for the ocean, that's not that deep.
No, these things are living in thousands of feet of water.
These things are living at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
In places we've not even explored yet.
Yeah.
That we can't get to.
That's on a whole other level right there.
Right.
Okay.
Lil Patty says, just an FYI, the last sighting of Nessie was on October 15th, 2025.
I saw that.
There was
I
a
saw
recent
that.
surge of like Nessie activity
Yeah.
or Nessie chatter.
But the videos that I've seen surface in those same realms, Yeah, I wouldn't even bring them up on Truth or Tinfoil. That's how oddball they kind of are.
Yeah. I remember seeing the one where it kind of had like the 3 type humps on
Three humps.
it, and
Yeah.
they determined that to be like tires or something that was thrown out there to make it appear like that from a distance, or so it was something weird. Again, I wish people wouldn't hoax, because I mean, I would like to just look at a picture just one time and not have to analyze it. You know what I mean? Just
I can't.
one
Yeah.
time. I would like
Yeah.
to
Good
say,
luck with that. I
I'm
can't
like,
look at any
"Oh."
picture now without doing it.
I know, because nowadays of course that's what Randy do and I every Sunday. So it's kind of like we have to look at every single picture, and go, is it real or is it not? You know, I mean, because there's so much bad stuff out on the internet that it outweighs anything that is, I would call, 100% legit out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
It outweighs it, and it's like you have to sift through I would say for every 30 to 40 photos that we go through, there may be one that we may question.
Most of
That's
them are
how,
just like, yep, done. Yep, done.
yeah,
Yep, done.
yeah, that's how bad. And I would not put it out there as evidence.
Yeah.
I would have to run it through all of my people before I put it out there to anyone else.
Especially when you're dealing with lake monster type photos and evidence.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
mean, because
And honestly, I don't know anybody who is on a lake monster. Uh, I wouldn't say on an expert level, but a more knowledgeable level than me. I don't know
Yeah.
anybody like that, so I wouldn't even know where to take that or send that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, for Bigfoot, we could go out into its habitat. We could just go out into the woods. But for lake monsters, we don't have the resources, nor the ability, nor even the biology to even
No,
just
we
go
don't.
there all willy-nilly.
We don't know what that is. We don't
Yeah.
know if this
Mm-mm.
is some type of dinosaur or if it is some weird something that just came about by itself, mutated from something. We don't know anything about it.
No.
And because there is less tangible evidence of it, so we have nothing to go on but by a few pictures and some witness testimony. So that's basically nothing.
Yeah.
That's
And
basically nothing.
and the pictures that, once again, the pictures that we get that even quote unquote accepted are most likely either pareidolia or
Hoax.
they can be explained away. They can be
Yeah.
debunked.
Or it's a fake.
Or it's fake
Absolutely.
in general.
Absolutely. I don't know. So, the
Oh,
whole, what?
real quick. I hate to be that guy, Brandy and Randy. I really hate
You're
to be
that
that guy,
guy.
but
You're that
I was
guy.
looking in the chat. There was a lot of chatter out there about people were saying that alligators are descendants of dinosaurs. And I just got to offer one quick correction. Crocodilians and dinosaurs, their last common ancestor were something called archosaurs, and that was pre-Triassic, about 275 million years ago. Archosaurs, it branched off into two directions: modern reptiles and dinosaurs.
Yep.
When people call plesiosaur, like plesiosaur is actually more closely related to crocodilians than they were to dinosaurs.
Gotcha. They were a reptile, really, weren't they?
Yeah, alligators and crocodiles were actually more like competitors of dinosaurs.
Gotcha.
They were definitely around at the same time, but they're active competitors. They didn't descend from dinosaurs. If anything, birds descended from dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's what I always think. The raptors and such all came from
Birds.
dinosaurs, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
See,
look at the
yeah.
ostrich and the emu. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd rather not. They like to stick their heads in when you're going through a safari park. They like to stick their heads in your window.
The
I
main
know.
difference is that reptiles are ectothermic, which means like they have to get their body heat from outside, like the sun, right? Dinosaurs were endothermic, like mammals. They believe now that they actually were kind of warm-blooded. They generated their own body heat. Crocodiles don't do that. They're completely on separate branches.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
yeah, because that would make more sense of why they, as their water gets a little bit more cold or colder, that they lay at the bottom and they don't move as much. They create what's a hibernation type deal, and that's why they hang out down there. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All
So
right, guys, we run
about dinosaurs. Yep.
right. Thank you, Donnie, for that information. I
That kind of
learned
stuff
something.
bugs me.
You
It bugs
tell
me.
them, man. You tell them.
It's like an itch I got to scratch. I just gotta.
He's got it. Yeah,
gotta
that
nitpick.
dinosaur thing.
It's the Virgo in me, people. It's the Virgo in me.
Well, there you go, everybody. You learned something new about Donnie. He's a dinosaur
He's a dinosaur virgin. What?
fanatic.
Virgo, not Virgo.
Oh,
Please.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, he's a dinosaur fanatic. How's that sound?
Okay.
There it is. All right. So, just to let everybody know, tomorrow night, Blondes and Booze, of course, is coming on. It's at 8 p.m. Central. We're going to have, of course, Lady Anne Celine and her husband. No, I'm just kidding. Her boyfriend. They're not married yet. Someday. Ken Garrett.
they ain't gonna be on tomorrow.
They're going to be on with us tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central. It's going to be a really cool show because we're going to be talking about Bigfoot, of course, but we're going to be talking about the scientific side from Ken's version and his vision, and the woo side from Lady Anne Celine. So it is going to be a fantastic show. It's gonna pit them kind of against each other in this whole thing. So
I'm okay with that.
because she's at one spectrum and he's at the other. So it's going to be a fantastic show. And we want to figure out how the dynamics work in a relationship when you when you have two different dynamics and two different belief systems in cryptids, and that is your field. So
hey, I got 10-1 on her. All right.
I do too. I've got her back anyway. It doesn't matter what Ken does.
Hey, this is one of his topics too. He loves the Loch Ness thing. So
that's right. It doesn't matter what Ken does. I got her back. So we'll see everybody tomorrow night. Of course, Donnie Cho, do you have a show this weekend?
I didn't do a show this past weekend because I was too busy playing video games, but this weekend I will have a show.
Okay. You never know. He might be talking about reptilians and the government. You just never know what's going to happen on Donnie's show. That's why it says Donnie Cho Says Stuff. And of course, we're going to be back here Sunday afternoon with Randy and myself on Truth or Tinfoil.
Maybe. Maybe. Remember, I was supposed to be doing that with Tex on Sunday. And
that's right. We may be back. But I just want to tell you something that Brandy and I wanted to do on a show. It's not this Sunday. It's going to be the following Sunday.
Yep.
Brandy and I are holding kind of like a contest type thing. We're going to have you send us your any type of evidence you see out there on the internet that you think is 100% real. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through each and every one, no matter how long it takes us. And we're going to let everybody vote on the best one that they think is 100% truth. And that person is going to win a Truth or Tinfoil t-shirt. And
anything like ghosts or cryptids or aliens or anything?
I'll take it all. I don't care.
Take it all.
Because I've got evidence for a new cryptid.
Right. The only stipulation we have is that you can't use anything that we've already used on the show.
Yeah.
So if we find something or run across one of your entries that has been on the show, then we're going to have to say, I'm sorry, it's already been on the show, and we're going to have to decline viewing it. So that's the only thing. So make sure you do that. So tune in to Truth or Tinfoil. Not, of course, this Saturday, if we have a show, depending on if Randy's still moving stuff around or not, but definitely next Sunday. Next Sunday at 5 p.m. Central.
That will
and
be
like
the
I said, it doesn't matter if it takes us an hour or 2 hours. We will go through each and every video and picture and everything sent to us. Just send it to truthortinfoil@gmail.com, and we'll go through them all. Doesn't matter.
It does it.
All right, everybody. So turn on over to Paranormal Paul and Krista are on right now, matter of fact. So we need to get off of here.
They'll be all right come Christmas.
They'll be all right. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.